Hello, welcome to another episode of Snail Mail with Smokey. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at. Today's episode, I want to talk to you about postal note stamps. So before we get into exactly what a postal note stamp is, let me tell you how I came about discovering these stamps. A while back, I was sitting here in the office doing some work when I received a text message from my wife. Now, a gentleman that my wife works with is also a stamp collector, so often he and I talk about stamps. And my wife says, the gentleman I work with has some stamps that are called postal note stamps. Do you know what they are? He'd like more information about them. And so I replied and I said, I really don't know what those are, but I'll look it up. So after a bit of research and finding out what these postal note stamps were, I was able to let him know exactly what they were and why they were in existence. Also, upon finding out about these postal note stamps, I immediately decided I had to add them to my collection. And that's exactly what I did. I went online and I found a complete set of postal note stamps, and these are the stamps here. So, what are these? And why do I like them so much? Well, unlike regular postage stamps, which we all know is used to pay for a service, and that service is sending a letter or a postcard or a package from one person to another, postal note stamps are altogether different. Postal note stamps, when used with a postal note card, were created to send small amounts of money, up to $10, to anyone in the continental United States. They were similar in use to money orders, and these stamps were created to send small amounts of money at a lower cost per transaction than money orders, which was cost prohibitive for small values of money. These postal note stamps were issued from February 1st, 1945 until March 31st, 1951. Now, not only did postal notes prove to be more affordable than money orders, especially for small value transactions, they also resulted in less paperwork for postal clerks. The postal note stamps, all that had to be done with them is the clerk simply had to affix the stamps to the postal note card and then cancel them, which was a normal transaction for every postal clerk. The paperwork required for this money transfer was completed by the customer who filled out the form themselves. Each postal note contained 3 parts. And so right now I'm going to put a picture up of a postal note card. Now, I do not have one of these in my collection yet, but I did find this picture online. So each postal note had 3 parts. On the left was the payee's coupon. The middle contained the paying office coupon upon which postal note stamps were affixed. Now, this portion was left at the post office when the money was paid. And then on the right was the purchaser's receipt. Now, these postal note stamps came in 18 denominations, and the postal notes were printed in 11 denominations. Up to 2 stamps per note could be combined to reach values between 1 cent and $10. Postal patrons could insure the note for a fee of an additional 5 cents. Now let's look closely at these postal note stamps. At the top of each stamp are the words United States of America in white against a black background. The words postal note are printed in the novel font against a gray background. The value is also in white against a black background, and coral laurel branches are engraved around the value on both sides. The word cent or cents has been printed below. These postal note stamps were printed by the American Banknote Company on a rotary press printer. These stamps have no watermark and are perforated 11 by 10.5. They were printed on 2 different types of paper. The oldest paper was thick and gray in color, and then the newer paper was thin and white. Now, the number of stamps that were actually printed is not known, but it is estimated that around 660 million stamps in total were printed. That means that there's approximately 40 million stamps of each value. Now, sadly, the stamps were destroyed after use, but there was a limited number that were offered for sale to collectors in 1951. Now, I know this isn't the typical postage stamp that we talk about on this channel, but this is philately. It is a stamp that was issued by the United States Postal Service, and it's issued for a fee. Now, in this case, the fee is not to transfer a letter from one person to another, but actually to transfer money from one person to another. You could simply say, I wanted to send you $5. I went to my post office. I gave you $5. Or the postal clerk $5. I filled out the postal card. They put the $5 stamp on it. I sent it to you in the mail. And then you would simply, when you receive the postal note card, take it to your local post office, and they would hand you $5 in exchange. Now, although we don't have postal notes and postal note cards anymore at the post office, here in America, there are still postal money orders which work the same way. You go into a post office, you pay a fee, you buy a postal money order, you can send it to anyone, and they can take it to the local post office and cash it in for money. Anyway, I think these are really nice stamps. They're a really great bit of history. I know there are other countries that have had similar things. So if you live in a country that has had similar things or has similar things, please let me know in the comments. As far as availability for these stamps, Postal Note Stamps are readily available on internet stamp sites. They are on ebay.com. They're available on hipstep.com, and I'm sure many other websites. They are not terribly expensive. I purchased this complete set of 18 Postal Note stamps for $4. Now, they are used, which I think is great. Mint may cost you a little bit more, but they're certainly affordable for just about every collector out there. As far as Postal Note cards, those are a bit more rare. I've only found a couple of examples for sale online, and they've been listed anywhere from $10 to $20 per card. There are some options that are not the complete card, but just pieces of the card. I'm hoping to find a complete card to add in this collection. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Postal Note stamps. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and thank you so much for watching. If you haven't watched this month's episode of Stamp vs. Stamp, which is my monthly collaboration with That Dad Guy, please check out that in my playlist here in my video channel. Also, check out That Dad Guy's Stamp vs. Stamp episode for this month. We were challenged to find one stamp that we did not want in our collection, to explain why we didn't want it in our collection, and then reverse roles and explain why we would want to add that stamp in our collection. It was challenging and fun, and I think you'll enjoy the way that both of us went about meeting that challenge. Well, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and commenting. And until I see you next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.